Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff. Today we are going to dig in and talk about, you guessed it, cryptocurrency, XRP, DeFi, Bitcoin, crypto, Ethereum. There's so many different assets to talk about, so many amazing, great projects. But the one thing that is for certain is that XRP, DeFi, crypto, Bitcoin, all life-changing money. And the biggest question is, as this churns, as things develop, as we see the CBDCs coming out from governments, as we see the digital assets moving in, the governments see it almost as a competition, but there's $5 trillion in currency globally that is at stake, that's floating around out there, that will be digitized. The question is, who gets it? How does it function? How does it work? Is a CBDC better than all the other digital assets out there, or just another way to control the people? All that stuff going on. And then we have a Bitcoin battle of the billionaires. So I want to get into that, talk about that, and much, much more. What we got to do is kick this thing off. So let's do it. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Back so soon. So, all right, let's kick this thing off. The notifications were a little slow rolling out. I didn't get the stream set up until a little bit late, so it's going to take some people a little bit of time to bounce in here. In the meantime, again, topics I want to talk about. On one side, you have governments that are threatened by a revolutionary technology. And on the other side, you have a battle of the billionaires debating on who's right and who's wrong. Who wins, who loses? The government, once again, globally, whether it's the central banks or the governments, the politicians, trying to decide winners from losers. And the billionaires, it's their playground. It's their toy. They're messing around. They're throwing money around like it's irrelevant. You know, one of the biggest culprits would be Elon Musk. Things that he says, things that he does, somewhat manipulating currency, manipulating digital asset. You have Ray Dalio, Jack Dorsey, Michael Saylor, Cathie Wood, Mike Novogratz, Alex Mashinsky, so many that are in the playground talking. But then of all those names, you single out one, Alex Mashinsky. Chip and I had a pleasure of meeting Alex yesterday at his Celsius AMA at the Bitcoin 2021. Alex building in the space, developing something that is life-changing, developing a solution within this technology that we refer to as cryptocurrency or digital asset, all these different assets out there, building a solution to help people, helping the retail investor, helping the individuals out there that believe in this space, helping them find a way to leverage the held assets that they have in their portfolio and earn high yield returns in a safer structure. And yet you have all these other voices out there, a lot of noise, a lot of pollution. You've got the pollution coming from Elon Musk. You have pollution coming from Jack Dorsey. But then you have Michael Saylor, huge proponent of the space and Bitcoin. Cathie Wood, a big proponent of technology and of this space. Mike Novogratz has said that institutional adoption of DeFi will explode. Now, you have those that are passionate about the space, those that see the vision, see the future, and then you have others like Elon Musk that play around like a George Soros that once manipulated the currency of the UK and almost crashed the entire economy, almost crashed the British pound. What's so different? There is no difference. So you have, back in 1992, you had something called Black Wednesday. And, during that period of time, there was a number of speculators, one of them, George Soros, playing around with currency, almost crashed the British pound. So now when we look back at this, it actually forced the British government to exit from the European exchange rate mechanism, which is referred to as the ERM. And so there was a lot going on, in that period of time. And so there was just a lot of involvement there. And so I'm trying to look back where the speculators came in. Hang on a second. There we go. So I'm looking at this article. So as the speculators saw that the British government was pulling out, this is all moving towards the EU, all moving towards the creation of the euro. And so this is where the British government pulled out. Obviously, the British currency stayed the pound, never moved into the euro. But during that period of time, speculators like George Soros began to short the currency. Again, not too dissimilar from what was going on with GameStop, when you had the big institutions that were shorting GameStop. But when Soros and his cronies, the other speculators, the currency speculators, were shorting the currency, there wasn't anybody else on the ground that could actually save it. There wasn't a Reddit group at the time that was a counterbalance to these big entities shorting the currency. And so there was a lot of involvement there. I don't want to get into, an in-depth discussion about that. However, when we look at what Elon Musk is doing with his tweets, being, passed about, and he's playing around with people's lives, playing around with people's livelihoods, doesn't even give it a second thought. Just like George Soros and the other speculators of the time didn't give a second thought about how shorting a currency of a country could be detrimental to the people of that country. Just like the institutions that were shorting GameStop didn't give a second thought to the company GameStop or the shareholders of GameStop. Nothing. And that happens on a daily basis. You have the speculators out there that are looking to take advantage of the ebb and flow of a marketplace. Now, what is Elon Musk doing? That's what I want to know. What is he doing? Is he truly taking advantage of the marketplace, taking advantage of the emotions of those that are investing in this newer asset class? Is he doing it on purpose, or is he doing it accidentally because he wants to be out there and he thinks it's cool to be on social media and doing stuff like this and talking about it and saying the ups and the downs and being cryptic? The end result, though, is that it's impacting the movement of the currency of Bitcoin, which is also then reflective in the other cryptocurrency market. So every time a tweet comes out and Doge is going up and Doge is going down, Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin goes down as a reaction to a tweet, again, isn't too dissimilar from when George Soros and the other speculators were speculating and shorted the pound, or the institutions, again, shorted GameStop. Manipulation, a billionaire's paradise, a billionaire's playground. The billionaires don't seem to care too much about collateral damage. It's like when two countries go to war and there's bombing on all sides, the collateral damage isn't always, or the damage isn't always the military. There's always collateral damage, which is infrastructure, and which is human life, civilian casualties, always in every war. And so, you have these, it's a different higher level, or I don't want to say it's a higher plane of thinking or conversation, but these entities operate at a different level, and they tend to have forgotten about everybody on the ground. Now, again, we have to be very, very cognizant of what is happening as a general rule, whether it's, coming from Elon Musk or it's coming from the governments, kind of a do as I say, not as I do type of scenario. So anyhow, let me pull this up. So there was a comment on a video, on our last video, and I thought it was really, poignant right now to read it. I meant to pull it up. Hang on a second. Let me find it. Comments. See if I can find our comments. And then here we go. Let's see if it's here. I want to give a shout out to everyone that's on right now. Appreciate you guys making it on here. Notifications didn't go out as planned for this morning. But those that'll get on are gonna benefit from it. So that's awesome. Let me slide this over here, and then we're gonna share the screen. All right, let's share the screen. Here we go. Boom. All right. So this is Peter Willis. So question number 1. I don't know what happened to question number 2, but question number 1. How can a tweet? It's funny because I saw this comment and I was already kind of developing, the theme for today. And then I look at his comment. I'm like, man, his comment is spot on. Peter Willis. So how can a tweet from one man affect the value of any true store of value? Hope Elon doesn't tweet something negative about gold, silver, platinum, copper. What a joke. Now, I was looking at this and I said, man, this fits perfectly into this narrative. And again, why I brought up George Soros and the speculators that almost crashed the British pound. The devastating effect of a speculator attacking a store of value, which could be a currency, right? A fiat. But imagine Elon Musk says, hey, I'm putting everything into gold right now. I think gold is the place to be. What do you think is going to happen to the gold market? Does an individual with celebrity status bear a certain responsibility to monitor what they say in social media, in a social environment like that, or social platform? Do they have some sort of a responsibility when there's people that latch on to their every word? I say that there is. I say that you get to a certain point where you do have a sense of responsibility to monitoring certain things that you say, because of the fact that it could be misinterpreted, or it could be interpreted exactly the way you want it. And it's going to have impact no matter what. It's going to have an impact up, or it's going to have impact down. And we're seeing that play out right now in real time as Elon Musk plays with the emotions and plays with the money of people all over the world based on what he says about Bitcoin or Dogecoin. For right or wrong, it's each individual's responsibility whether or not they buy or sell. It's everybody's responsible for what they do. If you decide to buy Bitcoin because Elon Musk says to buy it, that's your fault. That's your problem. If you sell Bitcoin or another asset because Elon Musk said to sell it, that's your problem. But the issue then comes down to people are very influenced. They can be influenced relatively easily, especially when it comes to money. So there's some level of responsibility here. But what Peter Willis is saying over here, imagine he says something negative about gold, silver, or platinum, because I know exactly what's going to happen if he said that. I know exactly what he would say if he brought up lithium. How about that? How about the very elements that go into the batteries that go into the Tesla vehicles? What if he brought that up? What if somebody else comes out and says that there's no way to dispose of those batteries, even if you recycle them? Or what if somebody else, came out highly influential? Is it going to impact the market like Elon Musk is going to impact the market from a financial perspective? I don't want to belabor this point, but you guys get the idea. But look what happens, right? Bitcoin tumbles following Elon Musk's cryptic tweets. Now, let's see, when was this article from? Because this was just yesterday, but in a cryptic tweet Thursday night, the Tesla CEO posted a meme of a couple breaking up and added Bitcoin in a broken heart emoji. 2 hours later, Musk posted an "I miss you" meme. That's crazy, right? So then Bitcoin falls by 5% as a reaction. Obviously, this person writing this article here had to bring up the 65,000. It puts more of an impact on it because now it looks like it fell from 65 to 36 if you're not reading the article properly. But Musk's tweets drew thousands of angry, stressed out, and disgusted replies, with many accusing him of manipulating the price of the volatile currency. The Pied Piper of crypto, one Twitter user jeered. "My wife is pregnant and my money is in crypto. I hope prices return to normal." Look, I mean, all right, I know I said it would be over between us if you quoted another Linkin Park song, but I found someone else, him. So in the end, it didn't even matter. So I don't, now you could also read into it. Maybe people are reading into it too much. And then, even, Dogecoin, all the cryptocurrencies started to drop. Was it because of him? Is he playing around with it? Come on. Elon Musk was slammed at Bitcoin 2021 conference following the tweet. And it's amazing because Chip had found a post. Someone had an F Musk shirt at the Bitcoin conference. So some are blaming him for the drop, obviously. Let me get rid of this nonsense. Oh, here you go. Look, Max Kaiser, host of the Kaiser Report, began his fireside chat by repeating "F Elon" several times. A number of conference attendees posted on social media about their disappointment in the Tesla CEO, who recently announced Tesla would stop accepting Bitcoin for vehicle purchase due to environmental concerns that were credited with sending the market lower in May. But the whole thing is such a shit show. Every aspect of it, everything. He's cared. The only thing that he cares about, truthfully, is this number. You think he cares about the $1 billion or $1.5 billion that he put into Bitcoin? He doesn't really care about that. I know we got all these ads all over. I need to start just using the Brave browser when I do this. And then you have Michael Saylor on the other side. Michael Saylor gets it. He understands the technology. Cathie Wood gets it. She understands the technology. An individual like Alex Mashinsky gets it. He not only understands the technology of cryptocurrency, he's building in the space and changing lives, like I had said early on. Michael Saylor, co-founder for the business intelligence company MicroStrategy and a staunch Bitcoin defender, said during the conference that he believes Bitcoin is the most efficient use of energy that the human race has yet come up with. The most efficient use. He's not saying it doesn't use energy. He's saying the most efficient use. Whether you agree or not, whatever. But I think that Bitcoin is an extraordinarily disruptive, beneficial technology to the entire energy industry. And as I studied it, it became clear to me that it's the highest value use of intermittent energy. It's the highest value use of renewable energy. It's the highest value use of wasted or stranded energy. And it's the highest value use of energy, period. Now, he brings up a solid point about what he's talking about with Bitcoin. All these people out there, they keep talking about, oh, it's not green, it's not green. So what? It's not using extra energy. It's not taking energy away from anybody. There's solutions that are out there that are offsetting the use of it. He's talking about renewable energies to power Bitcoin mining, intermittent energies, wasted energies, stranded energies. There's a lot of that out there that can be redirected into mining. And this isn't just Bitcoin, because it then references all digital assets and the entire market in general. You know, but this is important to have those kind of comments. It really is, because on the other side of it, you have Elon Musk, who is like a nut job at this point, a nut job. You know, it's crazy, right? Like you said, cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels. This is Musk, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at the great cost to the environment. Come on. I mean, but that's not what he's doing. If he cared about the environment, then he would put all of his brain power and everything that he has into finding a way, right, to make Bitcoin more efficient, find an energy solution. Hey, he's the guy of EV. He's the guy of solar paneled roofs. The guy's a clown at this point. Why is he a clown? Because he's singling it out and says, Bitcoin bad because it's impacting the environment and I don't know how to fix it. I mean, what kind of joke is that, right? This is a billionaire that's throwing rockets into space, can figure all that stuff out, but he can't figure out how to put a solar panel on a Bitcoin miner. I mean, come on, right? So then you know that the whole thing is just manipulation. Then you know he's just playing. Then you know that it's not even real for him, that the whole thing is a joke. Because if it wasn't a joke, he would find a solution. Come on. I mean, it's crazy, right? It's crazy stuff. Because then you have Mike Novogratz out here. Institutional adoption of DeFi is going to explode. Because if they can single out Bitcoin and say it's power hungry, don't you think they're going to single out every other version of digital currency that isn't produced by a central bank? Aren't they going to come after everything? Aren't they coming after XRP right now because the SEC wants to claim it a security? Aren't they coming after it? Maybe not because it's not green, but they're coming after it for a different reason. They're singling out every single reason. Janet Yellen at the very top and other governments out there are coming out and saying that digital assets and cryptocurrency used for nefarious purpose, right? So, I mean, come on. This is like this whole thing. It's crazy. It's just a big manipulation because everything is representative. Everything is critical. Everything is important for what it is. And once we see that, and so, I mean, it's amazing. You sit there. So yesterday we were with Alex Mashinsky at his AMA, and how amazing that was, right? I mean, this guy has really changed the way you can think of how you save money, how you gain yield. Granted, there's all this DeFi going on out there also, and banks and financial institutions are gravitating towards the DeFi space because they get it. They know that the DeFi space is going to change the way the financial markets work, period. It doesn't matter how much manipulation you get from the SEC or an Elon Musk, the DeFi space, the decentralized framework of money, which is the digital asset space, is going to continue to grow and build. And there's nothing anybody can do to stop it at this point. The mayor of Tampa, Florida, was at the conference. We had Congressman Warren Davidson on the show here with us, pushing for regulatory clarity within Congress because he gets it. There's a whole bunch of individuals within Congress that get it. There's a whole bunch of individuals within business that get it. I'm going to take Elon Musk and put him to the side because he either gets it or he's manipulating everything that he's doing. Maybe he's just, and Kathy Wood from ARK Investment pointed out in one of her statements that Elon Musk's about face 100%, 180-degree turnaround was due to the fact that his shareholders came to him and said, you are the CEO of an EV company and you can't talk about Bitcoin because it uses regular energy. How stupid is that? Right? Because how in the hell do they power the batteries that go into a Tesla? Where does the electricity come from? Oh, yeah, that's right. It just comes out of the thin air. I can power my Tesla because I plug it into the wall. How stupid, right? I mean, if you're putting gas in the car, you see the gas going in the car. Gas bad, right? We can't use gas. But then you have the EV and you plug it in the wall. Where does that energy come from? Did it come from coal? Were they burning coal to power that power plant? Was it nuclear power to power the power plant? I guarantee you it wasn't wind power or solar power that's powering the power plants that is fueling the cars that you plug in to get your electricity. In Florida, we don't get our electricity from solar power or wind power. So this whole conversation is so asinine. And then Mike Novogratz is talking about institutional adoption of DeFi because he understands, he knows where it's going. He's not playing with people's heartstrings or their purse strings. Michael Saylor isn't either, because Michael Saylor is looking at the technology. Kathy Woods from ARK Investment is looking at the technology. Mike Novogratz, understands that institutional players will embrace digital assets. It's going to happen. Look what he says. He stated that liquidity in the cryptocurrency world has been motivated by what he refers to as a gigantic community of gamblers all over the world. He even makes a comparison between the market and casino, but he believes that if and when regulatory concerns surrounding digital currencies are taken more seriously, institutions will swarm like moths to a porch light. Why? Because institutions like the gambling too. Why do you think George Soros was shorting a currency? Why do you think big institutions option trade? Why do you think they short? Why do you think they trade? It's almost like you're gambling. You can't always predict it. You can look at the charts and you get pretty close, but you don't win 10 out of 10. You might win 6 out of 10. You might win 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. The key is that you win more than you lose, but you're not going to win 10 out of 10. Even in gambling, you have professional gamblers, professional blackjack players, and they understand how to bet. They understand how to play the game. They understand more or less how to read the cards that are flowing on the table. They get a kind of a gist of when the deck is in their favor or the deck is against them, and they understand how to change their betting accordingly. Now you look at this, same thing with investing. They understand what their risk is. They know what their risk tolerance is. They know what their potential gain is, and they know exactly what their loss is. And that's how they go into it. So the institutions, yes, they are going to swarm like moths to a porch light. I think he's spot on. I believe it 100%. 100%. What's keeping them away? I also agree with this. One of the regulatory concerns that are keeping many institutions away from crypto is the lack of transparency about who they're in bed with, potentially. But businesses naturally want to know who they're doing business with and avoid working with what could be considered undesirables. Now, those undesirables could be anybody. They're not talking about just nefarious bad actors. They're just talking about undesirables. But he brought up North Korea, Iran, and Hamas as a prime example of entities most of the world would like to avoid conducting any sort of business with. But come on, you know, if you're doing business with North Korea or Iran or Hamas, a terrorist group, how do you not know if you're doing business with them? So, I mean, it's pretty obvious that's what the case is. So that's a little bit of a stretch, in my opinion, what he's saying here. And he says the process already being utilized in places like Thailand will keep institutions safe from accidentally doing business with entities that could get them in trouble. Now, again, if a digital asset happens to pass through one of these bad actors, there's mechanisms in place already to punish people that are dealing with entities like this. There's ways to deal with the businesses once they're caught. Now, if you're moving, let's say, I don't know, billions of dollars on a Navy flotilla, and you're bringing it out to the ocean, and you're turning over all that fiat cash to the Iranian regime in fiat that's untraceable, don't you think that you're accidentally moving your fiat currency into the hands of a terrorist supporting nation, a terrorist supporting government? What's the difference? So anyhow, I disagree with him on that point. I think he's wrong in that response. From that perspective, you know who you're doing business with. It doesn't. The currency doesn't matter, right? If Iran wants to buy something and they give you gas instead of currency, they're buying whatever they're buying from you, and they're finding a way to circumvent the system by giving you something of value. It's not the something of value that is the problem. It's the two actors that are the problem. It's like the whole debate on guns. I mean, it's the same debate. When it's sitting on a table, it's doing nothing. When you put it into the hands of someone that respects it, it's doing nothing. When you put it into the hands of someone that's using it to defend themselves, it's being used for defense. When you put it in the hands of a bad actor, it's being used for something with bad intent. The inanimate object isn't the problem. Anyhow. There you go. How do you like that? So, man, you guys are awesome. I'm trying to follow the comments. There's this whole conversation going on over here. I'm reading off this other screen over here. So leave that up. Let that sink in for a little bit. Granholm, hate to say it, but it'd be better off if Canada would take her back. It would have been better off had Canada taken her back before she was governor of Michigan. Oh my God. So anyhow, lots of great stuff. Lots of great stuff. What else here? There's a lot. There's so much. It's so crazy. So crazy. Jeff, I heard Grandpa got hooked up. What? Oh my God. All right. I didn't mean to put that one up. There you go. That's funny. Boo for justice. Take a look at blockchain backers' latest video. Elon tweets are just too timely. I agree with that. I haven't seen his last video yet. I have to look at it, but I agree that all of this stuff super timely. It's interesting to see, and that's why I think there's definitely a game being played. Elon Musk is a genius. He's going to put a supercomputer on the moon to control everything and take over the world. It's possible. Daily Donkey. Personally, I think this is having the most effect on the market. War of words. China threatens U.S. with intense nuclear showdown as it ramps up atomic program as a vital deterrent against America. Yeah, I mean, there's so much else going on outside of it That's why this is just like a microcosm. This is just the billionaires' playground. You know, you think what's going on, it's more of a distraction. So you see what Elon Musk is doing. We know what he's capable of. We know what he's not doing. We see what he's saying. But why is it that these big billionaires and these government representatives always say, do as I say, but not as I do? Because they say, don't do this. This is bad. Cryptocurrency for being used for nefarious purpose. And then on the other side, you have governments that are trying to, get in bed with, or the financial institutions are trying to find a way to get the digital asset space going, or build on the central bank digital currencies, programmable money. They want to move away from fiat paper money, right? They want to move away from paper money, and they want to digitize it. So, think about this, right? So think about, right? You take this, right? You have this, or you have a, different ways of doing business right now. And then you've got this, right? So you've got you have credit card, or you have currency, right? This is how we do business right now: credit card or currency. They can't control or program either one of them. They can't program this. They can't control what we do with this. It's impossible to control what we're doing with this, because I can go out and spend this $100 today and they have no control over what I spent it on. I can go more or less, I can go use this, and the same thing, they're not going to be able to control what I spent it on. All right, the bank can, but the government has no visibility to what I'm doing with this. However, they do when you digitize the money. When you digitize it, they program it. Now they have control over what you can or cannot do with it, when or when you can't spend it, how you're getting taxed, how much you pay in tax, when you pay your tax, what kind of product you can buy, what kind of product you can't buy, what kind of computer program you can take, what money you can donate, what money you can't donate, what organization you can support, which one you can't, which if you're supporting one organization, now you're getting penalized. That's programmable money. And that's exactly what's going on right now over in China with the digital yuan. We need to wake up to that, because that's what's happening. That's exactly what's happening, man. Boom. See that? Segfredo coffee to the moon. They got to put the Segfredo coffee on a rocket ship. And so if anybody's going to go to the moon, they got to bring this coffee with them. I mean, there's nothing else. It's just like, I know there's other good coffees out there, I'm sure, but this one, as far as espressos, it gets you going. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right. All right. So I get into this into a tangent here. We're going to try to get the mayor of Tampa on, because she's very motivated in the digital asset space. Politically, I don't know if we're going to align, but economically, she seemed very, very astute. And I looked at her history, very, very powerful. First woman chief of police in Tampa. Now she's the mayor of Tampa, highly supportive of cryptocurrency and building tech in the economy in Tampa. She was amazing. Amazing. You don't always have to agree with someone on everything, and you don't have to agree with them always politically. You don't always have to agree with them economically, but you take someone like, she's doing things, real world things. So hopefully, yesterday she said she would come on the chain when we met her. We asked her. So we're going to try to set that up. And then we also want to get the mayor of Miami on, also moving Miami in this direction of tech. We only want to focus on that. Don't want to focus. I want to get other congressional representatives on here. I want to get their perspective. I want to see what it's going to take to push regulatory normalcy for digital assets and cryptocurrency in this marketplace so that we can live up to what Mike Novogratz is saying, is that the institutions are going to flock to cryptocurrency like moths to a flame. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So I say there, hang on. All right. So where are we? Here's something. All right. So let's go to some Ripple XRP type news, because that's motivational and uplifting. Let me see if we can pull up. There were 2 articles. And then there's something going on in India right now against Twitter. Man, Jack Dorsey's stepping in all sorts of shit all over the place, wherever he goes. They're not so happy with him over in India right now. Maybe India will come up with another platform, but man, he's got to keep his mouth closed. He's got to do things the right way, just abide by, the right principles and support of the people that are using your platform. It's a social platform. I don't know. I just started getting into it, trying to figure out what was going on over there. I got to share my screen. Hang on. There we go. All right. So Mike Novogratz refuses to recognize the progress of XRP and the Flare network. In that regard, he is clueless. Carl Wagner, clueless. Wait till Flare actually launches. Right now, he's looking at product that is fully functional to an extent, right? So he's looking at the DeFi space. He's looking at product that's out there. Does he look at the product of the XRP ledger? Maybe not yet, but wait till, when Flare is fully functional, really living up to what it's going to be interesting to see, how nobody's going to be able to put it down. I believe very, very strongly in what Flare is building out. If they do it the wrong way, that's on them. This is a game that right now is up to them to win or lose. And if they lose, then that's their fault. But I believe they're positioning themselves to be a winner, incorporating other digital asset into their platform, being agnostic, working with the Ethereum framework, working with the XRP ledger framework, building out the smart contracts that is going to be the epicenter of everything in DeFi. If you want DeFi to be functional, you want banks to have DeFi, you have to have the smart contract component that is fully functional and agnostic. It has to be truly decentralized. Ethereum, you could argue, not so decentralized. Why? Mainly because of the ridiculous high gas fees. Mainly because it's not agnostic. You need another tool. I'm not saying Ethereum's bad from those perspectives. Maybe you need high gas prices. Maybe Ethereum isn't meant for the smaller transaction. Maybe it needs to be adjusted in a different framework for big, I don't know, but I know that there's technologies that are good for retail. There's going to be good technologies for institutions, kind of like the XRP ledger, kind of like what Ripple wants to do with the ODL through RippleNet, which is more institution-based. It's interesting to me also that as we're seeing this change in the framework of society, this change in the framework of money, we're changing what money is and how we respond and react and use money. That's what's happening right now. It's changing the financial structure of the world. Doesn't matter how you look at it, right? We're changing the financial structure of the world. So, what we do know is that as this is happening, there are going to be some critical elements to all of it in order for it to be functional, whether it's at the retail level or if it's at the institution level. Ripple chose to work with the banks. Why? Because they believe, and I tend to agree, that the big banks are not going away anytime soon. Central banks are not going away. Maybe they already saw it because Ripple seems to spend a lot of time meeting with central banks. Why is it that Brazil, right? Why is it that the Brazilian central bank has announced a CBDC plan 1 year after meeting Ripple? Coincidence? I don't know. You could say anything. Maybe they're already working on it. Maybe they weren't. But why is it that Ripple, with their ODL, utilizing the XRP ledger, is building rails all over the world, could care less about all the noise, could care less about the noise that even the SEC is creating, because that's all that is. Why do they care so much about CBDCs? Why have they even come out and said you can even build a stable coin on the XRP ledger? Why is it that they said Ripple could help people and help organizations build stable coins? David Schwartz has come out, talked about stable coins, talked about CBDCs. They keep talking about them. So you got to think about that, Now, if they keep talking about it, they're not running away from banks. Ripple and RippleNet is running to the banks. They're running to the brick and mortars. Everyone else is talking about Bitcoin, said brick and mortar bad, banking bad. We need to replace the banking model, the banking infrastructure, because Bitcoin is going to replace everything. But that's false. That's a false narrative, because you're never going to get rid of the central banks in our lifetime. I don't want to say never. I don't think we will. Governments will not relinquish their sovereignty to a Bitcoin. Governments will not relinquish their sovereignty to an XRP. Governments will not relinquish their sovereignty to any digital asset, decentralized or otherwise. CBDCs, the CBDC is just another version of paper money, right? If you have a CBDC, what difference is a CBDC to this? The only difference is this has now been digitized and is represented on the computer, and the government with their CBDC can still print this into non-existence, or they can print as much digital currency as they want. However, as we're seeing with the arguments and the discussion with China with their digital yuan, we don't want to work with the digital yuan. We want to work with the US dollar because we're in the US. In Europe, they want to work with the digital euro. In Brazil, they want to work with the digital, why can't I remember the name of their currency? I don't think it's the peso. Real? Is it the real? But anyhow, so they want to work with their currency. Everybody wants to work with their own currency. Now, Ripple is running directly to it. It's like a linebacker. They're running into it. It's amazing. No fear at all, just charging head first like a gladiator, I should say. That makes more sense. They're like a gladiator running head first into this wall of armor, right? You have all these banks, all these financial institutions that have been there forever. They've got this amazing, fortified position of walls and gates, and they have their front lines standing there with their spears and their armor. And then you've got this gladiator Ripple that's charging head first into all of that and saying, we're going to change the way you guys move your money. We're not going to change your money necessarily. We might help you digitize your money. We're going to allow you to keep sovereignty over your money. And we're going to show you how to move your money. We're going to help you. We're here to help you. While all this other noise out there is saying, banks, we want you destroyed. We're going to take you guys down 100%. Now the banks, when technology changes and moves and advances, if they don't get on board with it, they're going to get bought out. They're going to go away. If a government doesn't get on board with it, that government's probably going to be replaced. The digitization of our economy is here. Nobody can fight it. So, man, there's so much going on. It's awesome. It's outstanding, right? So, hang on. Let's get rid of this. Josh Vanderplatz. Here's what I think is obvious. We use central bank notes to buy crypto. Crypto appreciates by virtue of these notes. These notes are printed in mass by the central banks. At this moment in time, the only way to get our money, because our entire existence is in fiat. Once our entire existence is digitized in a digital representation of fiat, in a central bank digital currency, we're going to be moving our CBDC version or our digital dollar or digital euro or whatever it might be, because we're already doing that. you're already connecting your bank and you go through the ACH. It's just not instant. You don't get instant gratification in the movement of your fiat money. But our money, my chair keeps moving. Our money is in digital representation now is how we're moving it. Just again, it could take 3 to 5 days for settlement. So they're going to speed up the settlement process. Once we get into that platform, you can invest in whatever currency you want to invest in. And the DeFi space is going to change the structure of it. To me, I'm seeing this writing on the wall, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So, can you give him a glass of water, let him drink and breathe for a moment? That can't do it. We got an hour. We got to cover all this stuff in an hour. So anyhow, let's see. Hang on. Don't want to talk about Twitter. I want to know why the Fed has become the environmental police. So the Fed, in this article with Powell, said that they don't want to be the climate policymakers at the Fed. What about the SEC? Is the SEC trying to be a climate regulator? It seems that way. So the Fed says, Powell said, we're not, and we do not seek to be climate policymakers. Powell said at a BIS, Bank for International Settlement conference on climate change. So he's speaking at this conference, and he says, we're not here to be climate policymakers. Then he adds, the Fed should avoid trying to fill in public policy where governments haven't done so yet. Great. Okay, but then it goes on. The Fed is in the midst of efforts to incorporate climate change risk into its regulatory and financial stability framework. So the Fed is doing this, right? They're working to incorporate climate change risk into regulatory and financial stability. Yet Powell comes out and says that they don't want to be climate policymakers. So either you are or you're not. Don't say you don't want to be while you're doing. And now, the SEC. The SEC is so busy right now going after XRP hodlers and suing Ripple for selling a potential unregulated security. And they've been silent for 8 years. Maybe the Fed should just let the SEC take care of it. They're really good at attacking. They're kind of like bulldogs. They didn't think. They just did. They don't think first. Seems to be like this common theme that's developing here. But it's amazing. So we see where Michael Saylor is. Even Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey, lots of flaws, lots of issues on his, with what he's working on with Twitter. I think he has a lot to answer for across the board. And there's a lot of countries upset with them. Obviously in Florida, pretty upset, big laws now on the books against the social media platforms. But Jack Dorsey came out and he said, maybe I need to put it up. He was interviewed on CNBC, but he said, Bitcoin changes absolutely everything. He said this yesterday at the conference. Then he said, I don't think there's anything more important in my lifetime to work on. Jack Dorsey said that. Now, that statement, nothing more important than Bitcoin. Nothing. Now, Elon Musk is saying, oh, I'm going to play with it. Doge. Oh, Bitcoin. Oh, good. Oh, bad. Oh, my batteries. Then you have Michael Saylor and you have Jack Dorsey. Now, these guys are billionaires, right? They're leaders in their industry, leaders in the tech space. Complete different opinion from what Elon Musk has or hasn't. Who knows where Elon Musk is? That's why I don't even think I think he's just playing around. Who knows? Maybe he's got ulterior motives like some of the people in the chat have said. But then Dorsey, the most important thing, I guess Twitter, I guess he's right. That's not too important. Twitter at the end of the day has changed the way people interact, the way you have a connection directly to a leader, directly of a government, or you can potentially interact directly with anybody. You know, you have people throwing out their thought process. It doesn't have to go through traditional media. We saw this with President Trump. He thought about something, threw it out there on Twitter. You could agree, disagree, whatever. It doesn't matter. But the point is that he had a direct communication to his audience immediately, right? He thought it, he typed it, he sent it, I read it. You read it. Everybody read it, right? To me, that's life-changing. I think that Twitter and social media did have an impact. For good or bad, it's changed how things act. Now, you created this platform to allow people to communicate. Then when you crushed it and you centralized it and you became the thought police, Jack Dorsey became culpable to anti-democrat or anti-democracy, anti-freedom, pro-communist thought process when he started shutting things down, as did Facebook and the others. Now, you can agree, disagree. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But, you know, the point is that these technologies changed how people all over the world interact with each other. Just like digital assets are changing the way money is going to move and how people are going to interact with each other for good or bad. It's world changing. It's life changing. Digital assets are life changing for people all over the world because for many, in many of these countries, in these developing countries, it's an opportunity for economic explosion. For the West, it's a transition period. For other countries, it's a way at this point for the people to take the power back and make money no matter what a centralized, controlling, authoritarian government wants to dictate. People in Venezuela and other countries that are under this type of brutal regime have found a mechanism to save their money, to save their value. Hopefully, it allows them to free themselves from that kind of control. Hopefully, people in developing countries can find a mechanism to utilize cryptocurrency to enrich themselves, to build, to create entrepreneurial opportunities, to create business, to grow business. You can take a developing country and rapidly, through this technology, you can develop. All you need is a cell phone and a computer, and they can join the developed world from an economic perspective, whether they want it or not. It's amazing. It's amazing. This technology can change everything. Everything. Even, you know, using Twitter, as silly as it can be, is critical because it allows people all over the world to communicate with each other. Why do you think in China they shut that kind of technology down? Because they want to control their people. It's not fair that these technology leaders in this country are shutting down individuals either. Just as it's not fair, you know, when we see this direct collateral damage of retail investors in digital asset being manipulated by an individual like Elon Musk or the SEC, you know, or others, you know. I mean, this is that moment in time where people say, you know, we've had enough. And I, you know what, you know, it's a wake-up call. I think it's okay. I really think it's okay. At the end of the day, you know what you learn is that people want freedom. People love this idea of decentralized finance. People love it. People love the idea of being able to gain returns of 5%, 7%, 8%, 10%, 15%. People want a return on their money. People love it. People aren't so happy about getting 0.25% or zero return when they are in turn paying 3-4% on a mortgage, 25% on a credit card, 7, 8, 9, 10% on a loan. They're not okay with that. They're not okay. When you see banks putting up record profits, and yesterday, Mishkinski brought up again, talking about JP Morgan when they called them out in terms of overdraft, $1.5 billion in profit on overdraft from their customers. Governments get to decide winners and losers all the time because they can manipulate the outcome. But that's the reality. That's the model. But this decentralized framework of finance with cryptocurrency through blockchain technology is world changing. It's life changing. And we all know that. And they all know that. That's the beauty of it. Everybody knows it. There were 15 or 20,000 people yesterday in Miami at the Bitcoin 2021. Why? Do you think those 20,000 people paid whatever they paid, $1,500 plus for a ticket to attend that conference? Do you think they all believe that that all this stuff is just going away? All those high-powered people that came to speak, including government officials, do you think that they were there talking about this because they think it's all just going to go away? So, anyhow, I left that comment up there, didn't realize. What is this? Let's see here. So, anyhow, you guys are awesome. Hey, tomorrow night, Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Chip and I will be back. We stream Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. Look forward to seeing you guys back here on the chain. See you guys on the next one. I am out. See ya.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.